Welcome to, excuse me, this morning's masterclass. And this morning is something that is totally fun, totally outrageous, and totally fabulous. And if we understood this, I wonder what life would be like. So, the lesson from Mr. School is problems need energy to live. Now, there's a bit of an oxymoron because we actually need problems for growth. And I like to have a problem because when there's a problem, I just go, do you know what? I always find easy, efficient, effective solutions that work. That's an affirmation I have. And when I have a problem, it allows me to grow and blossom and expand in consciousness and awareness and all of those things. So I need the problem. However, problems need energy to live. And what that means is I choose not to make the problem a drama bus where it's really bad and really, really awful in my life. Now, that's not always the way I've been. I remember being big time drama bus and going, oh my gosh, I'm going to give that problem the biggest energy ever. And I fed that problem. And when I fed the problem, it led my life into pain, hurt, isolation, separation. But there's two sides to this. As Dr. Phil says, there's two sides to a pancake. And so problems need energy to live. Are you feeding your problem? So we're going to start with, like I said, how I used to feed my problem in like a negative way, if there's such a thing. And in mystery school, there is no positive or negative. Excuse me while I blow my nose. So let's go to supposed negative. Mm. And the supposed negative is there's a problem. And I'm going to use our actual example just so you know that I'm human. And as I say on my events, I don't have it all together. Otherwise, if I had it all together, I would not be here on this earth as a soul having a human experience. I still learn and grow and share what I learn and grow, see if anybody else learns from it. So let's go to back to when I was nursing. I deviated and went into pathology and autopsies. And I did that to quantify what I could see inside the body as a medical intuitive. But also, I wanted to expand my awareness and also because I was trying to get pregnant with our second son and get away from shift work. And so I was interviewed by two pathology companies. We'll call them A and B, or actually, we'll call them red and blue because that was their uniforms. One was red and one had blue uniform. Excuse me. I decided to go with the red uniform, even though both of them had the interview on the same day, and both of them on the same day offered me the job. How coincidence, not sacred geometry, is that? So as I arrived at the new pathology company, I was so excited. I love to learn. I love to grow. And so I said to each department, histology and cytology, etc., I want to know more. And so during my lunch break, I'd have a quick bite to eat and a quick cigarette because I used to smoke back then. And I'd go to that department and say, what do you want? What do you want me to do? As I collect the specimen, what are you looking for? What can I do when I'm in the laboratory, etc.? So I really wanted to know what was happening. And so in that space, I became very, very grateful for each department showing me what they wanted. And I wanted to give back to the pathology company. And it was a huge, huge area within a hospital. And I'm still nursing, but in pathology. And so every Tuesday for 6 months, I would go in at 8 a.m. My shift didn't start till 9 a.m., but I'd go in at 8 a.m. and I'd provide morning tea for everybody. And back then, it was chocolate mud cake and all wheat and gluten and sugar and all dairy and all those sort of things. Seemed to have the intolerances back then, and everyone ate all of that sort of food. So each week, I'd go in, provide the morning tea. On my morning tea break at 10:30, I'd go and clean everything up. But I fell into a something. You see, when I first started that pathology company, Red, we'll call it, there was a lot of bitching, bitching, nastiness, and backstabbing, and that department didn't like that department, and that one was against that one, and there was legal action and whatever. Well, I decided I didn't want to hear any of that blah blah. I didn't want to be involved in the problem, but I was seen to be the only person. And I thought, no, I've got to keep focused. I don't want to feed the problem. I don't want to. And they kept like luring me in like an energy. Histology would say blah, blah, blah about cytology or the other departments. I didn't want to hear. I just didn't want to hear. And the department I was in was called collectors. There was sorting bench, there was admin, there was the couriers, all sorts of areas. And in the collectors, we had like little pigeonholes that pieces of paper could go in. This is before email. Pieces of paper could go in. So every week, again, I used to put gifts inside the collector's pigeonholes. And sometimes I have a wicked sense of humor. Sometimes it'd be like those little plastic Dracula teas and pop those in. Sometimes it'd be a little bag of lollies like Jaffa chocolate, say the red blood cells, or chocolate licorice bullets as like feces or something. And I just did them in, not separately, but in a little bag. But still, there was this energy of like trying to pull me into the problem. And I got caught up in the problem for about 2 weeks. What was the problem and what was I feeding? So if I just go back to the lesson, problems need energy to live. And so the problem was each department seemed to be individual and seemed to, well, we do a better job and they don't do. I got sucked into that, got sucked in big time. I take full responsibility for it. And so that problem needed energy. And so I started to give it energy as well. I fed the energy, not so much to outside, but in my brain. And I started to think, yeah, do you know what? Sorting bench, oh my God, they do and they don't do. Admin, they do and they don't do. And then cytology, they do and they don't. You know, what am I doing? I was feeding a problem that there was not actually really a problem for me. I was trying to be in a clique in the community, which is really easy to do. It's held in sacral chakra. Sacral chakra is all about group and harmony and community. I wanted to fit in and it was easy just to go, I fed the problem. And then I'd stop it. Stop it. So I went back to being naughty again, putting the gears back into the collector's box. I still did all the morning teas. But I found I was feeding the problem and it made me feel awful. It made my mind feel awful. And instead of having a kind mind to me and everybody else, it just seemed to exacerbate this big drama. And then part of my brain, right at the brainstem here, called the reticular activating system, started to focus because that's where I focus. I sieve and focusing, start to focus on all the problems of everything. And I start to notice my personality change, like stop, just stop. And so then that became a problem. And I was feeding that. But instead of feeding in a negative way, I flicked it. Those who've done the bite me program, it's click the fingers. The problem needed energy to live. Well, I needed to flick the problem as into expansion. What had I come in like so enthusiastic and excited about being pathology because I like variety and I like to grow in my career. And instead of having the problem as negative, come back into I was excited and vulnerable and courageous and really curious, flick it. And that problem needed energy. And so as I fed it energy, it was like, oh yeah, let's go back to the best thing about each department, the best thing of how I can support each department, the best thing of the whole cycle. I'm the one up on the wards collecting all the specimens from the patients. And then I take them down to the laboratory and then I give it to the sorting bench. And then the sorting bench sorts it out and gives it to each department. And each department sorts through it, takes that problem, is passionate about it, finds out what the cure is. so that then there's a report that goes back to the ward, that goes to the doctors and nurses to find a solution. Oh, that's the energy I want. I wanted to feed the energy of that problem. The original problem, excuse me, is actually the patient that's sick in the hospital. And through pathology, we're finding the solution. Yeah, I wanted to feed that. I wanted to feed my curiosity. I wanted to feed my ability to help and support. I wanted to feed my ability to keep things alive for people. And so there's a duality of both. Problems need energy to live. And so the energy now that I was putting in was, how can I make it the best? So when I would go to the ward, I'd come on my shift, I would collect my trolley, which had all my needles and pathology collecting equipment. I got to a whiteboard, excuse me, collect a pager. We had a pager number. I write my name on the board, Jean, pager number 257, and the wards I was on. Level 2, ward 21, 23, whatever it was. And so I put energy into, yeah, be early. I like to be early, even with whatever work I do. Be early. So when I'm actually starting, I'm starting walking outside the lab with my trolley organized, not arriving and then getting everything organized and whatever. Put the energy in. And as I would walk to the elevator to go to the floor that I was working on, I put the energy of, I'm actually going to support people. They didn't like me. As soon as I went up in my white uniform and red cardigan, they'd always go, oh, here comes Dracula, sucking blood, and especially the chemo patients. They'd take one look at me and just go, oh, not again. If I went to the endocrinology ward where they had to have minimum 4 blood tests a day to check their blood pressure, to check their adrenals, they'd look at me and just go, oh, I don't want to see you. So what if I made that problem and put energy into it? Hi, how are you? I'm going to take blood tests and put the energy in that when I did stab them, as I used to call it, have my sense of humor. Hi, I'm here to stab you. I know you want me here. And so I made that problem full of energy of love and connection, compassion, understanding, listening, especially with the chemo patients where all of them beautiful veins would shut down. And so I'd have to go between the toes, what's called the webbing in here. And as I went between the toes, because all the veins are shut down, that hurts. It's horrible. You've got to get it first time. Don't blow the vein, as they call it. That problem that they had of no veins, I poured energy feeding the problem with lots of love. And energetically, I would imagine every time I placed a needle inside that vein, as though I was placing love. Now, I didn't have their permission to do any healing or love or anything like that, but I just offered it. And as I talked to them, they said, oh, I'm ready. I said, I finished. I had the tourniquet on. It was already done. Finished. And so problems need energy to live. Either a negative, and if we keep feeding the problem and bitching and carrying on about it, your life is going to suck. Let's just be earthy. Oh my gosh. And people do that. Oh, the government. Oh, my taxes. Oh, I've got a bill. Problems of energy. So you're feeding that problem and continually then descending, spiraling down. Or are you in a cusp right at the moment where it's like, oh, I don't want to do this. It's hurting me. It's isolating, separating me. I'm going to flick it and I'm going to ascend and go up and feed the problem in a different way. So we need problems to grow. Or maybe you're supporting other people's problems. It is perception. It's a choice. And perception is held in the third eye and pituitary gland, and choice is held in the knees. So we have this ability to do this. And I remember one time when I was teaching medical intuition down in Melbourne, And I had a client who had learnt medical intuition here on the Sunshine Coast with me. She'd done 8 days and she wanted to repeat and said, can I come and help when you teach it in Melbourne? I live in Melbourne. Absolutely. Of course you can. It was at lunchtime and I was wiping the whiteboard off, getting ready for the next session. She had her phone in her pocket and she said, I want to know how much money you earn. I want to earn the money you earn. And I thought, what's that got to do with anything? Doesn't really matter. Are you enjoying life? What are you doing? I want to do energy work. I want to leave my other job. Okay, then money's got nothing to do with it. Do it because you love it. Do you like helping people? Well, no, not really. Oh my God. Now goes my phone. She pulled her phone out of her pocket, said, oh, look, it's another client. What do they want? My mind couldn't grasp it. I said, I think you need to go and answer that phone outside of the conference room. So, but you're not feeding their problem. To feed their problem is that you want to do energy work to help them, to support them. What you're doing is feeding your own problem by feeling like you have to be there for everyone. So no matter what job you do, you're actually playing the victim. And yes, I did say that to her because when you come back as a helper, sometimes I up-level your learning as well. Well, she didn't like hearing that. The next day she came back because it was 8 days of medical intuition. She came back and said, I thought about what you said and how I see my potential clients, that I'm not actually helping their problem. I'm feeding their problem energetically by making it like they're an inconvenience. I said, yeah, absolutely. So what if this week problems need energy to live? Are you feeding the problem in a negative way? Or are you feeding the problem in a positive way? Either or, doesn't matter which one. Remember, I like problems because it allows me to grow and expand, etc. And no matter where I am, there's always a something that's there. Part of Mystery School is understanding that we are pure potential, ready to blossom, to grow, to expand, to raise our consciousness, no matter what it is. And so I like problems, and problems need the energy to live. So if I give it the love energy, it's become like a burden of hard. And if I feed it of how can I help and support, it not only helps the other person, thing, situation, or environment, it also helps me. Which one do you want to do? Do you want to feed the problem and be part of the problem that hurts you and others? Or do you want to feed the problem and grow and expand? It's simple. Problems need energy to live. So you feeding your problem. And when you have the awareness of this, you can flick it at any stage. You're human. I'm human. You can be in the supposed negative for a moment, just for the moment. Allow yourself have that experience. And then flick your fingers and flick it the other way. Because really, without a problem, how could we grow and expand? So that's this week's lesson in Mystery School. Awareness, consciousness, creation, possibilities, potential. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some sharing. And if you'd like to do your sharing in the chat, just write a why. What was your golden heart? Golden heart is where you drop into your heart. It's like, yeah, I got that awareness. But you guys sharing, it's not just about me. Mystery School is we're a community. Everyone has wisdom and insights. So if you'd like to share in the chat with a Y, which means yes, Jean, share. If it's a no, please put the N first. That way I know not to read it out. And then if you would like to share unmute yourself, so call your name. We'd love to hear from you. So let's start with Joy, Maud, and Donna. What was your golden heart moment from today?
Okay, I did it. Okay. I've had a few issues come up since I've come back from Egypt. But the way I deal with them is so different. So if it comes up, I thank, acknowledge it, and then I visualize Jean's pink bag that says it always works out. And it's working perfectly for me. It's amazing.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Joy. And I love how you said you thank it, because that's one of the biggest things that I've talked about Mystery School for. Thank it. Thank you so much. Who knows what happens? So, Joy, that's beautiful. Thank you. Who's next?
Me. Hi,
Hi,
Jean.
Maud.
Morning.
Oh, Donna, go for it, Donna.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Okay. Really wonderful. Thank you. And it's something that I do all the time. I actually have in my everyday language when communicating with people is when you're repeating this thing that you're saying, which is giving you pain, you're actually reinforcing it, feeding it, as you say, and you can just flip it, literally, use same language again, and flip it around to make it to something that actually works for you, and give it gratitude. So that same thing again. I do the same, just different language, different words, basically. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
Absolutely
thank you.
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Donna.
Maud here.
Hi, Maud.
I had, for example, one problem yesterday with my sister. She always want to talk about others' problems. And we were out for a walk with my dog, and she began to speak about other people. And I said, it's not our business, I said. And that was it. That was it. So she stopped talking because I just killed her. I killed her.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And Maud spot on as like Donna as well. Let's see, this is where you guys have got wisdom. Flick it. Or Maud saying, like, it's not our problem. It's not our problem. Because we can choose to take someone else's problem, which is what I did when I was in pathology. I chose to take their problem. Why? It's heavy. And what Maud's talking about, Maud and beautiful Joy were very blessed. They came to Egypt with me recently, and we had a bit of a joke of, hey, Israel. And that's what she's talking about. Not that she actually killed her sister, but it's like, it's just like, let's just kill the situation, then thing. They don't have to be involved. And as Maud said, it's not a problem. Why carry someone else's problem here and give it energy? Heavy. Gee, thank you so much. My beautiful Lou has got her golden heart, was realizing you can choose to feed a problem with positive energy, which it is. It's this duality of, is the problem negative or positive? So beautiful. Thank you. Let's go to Leona, Monique.
Hello, everybody. I still don't have my throat back. My golden heart is sometimes it's hard to just define what the problem is because they can be cascading and they can be, all over the place and shattered and whatever else. And sometimes you just define the problem and then deal with that.
Yep. Perfect. And Leona also came to Egypt with us, and it is. It's like, wait a minute, what's the problem? So sometimes we're feeding the problem, but we don't even know what is the actual problem. And that's why taking your time to go, what's actually going on? And taking your time to go, well, how am I feeling? What's actually occurring? Because sometimes that problem, such as in the pathology department, where this department was bitching against this department, blah, 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 what was happening right at the beginning? There was no management. 3 managerial staff left all of a sudden, and so no one was managing them. So it was like a whole schoolyard of everyone just chaotic and crazy, not finding any sort of authority of leadership, someone helping them. So absolutely beautiful, Leona. Thank you. Who's
Hey
next?
everyone. Mine was about spiraling down. When you're into it, you spiral down, and so I can ascend and not enter it. So yeah, thank you.
Beautiful. Kim, absolutely. And it is like it's a descension. When we start to go on the supposed negative, because when I say supposed, because in life, in the 3D world, we'll have positive and negative, this duality. But in the understanding of fifth dimension beyond, there's no positive and negative. That's just together. It's one. But we do have a choice of, do I want to go that way or do I want to go that way? And again, like Leona said, discerning what it is, what's the problem. And as all of you have said, it's like, oh, let me just check what I'm up to. So thank you, Kim. Let's go to Monique.
Morning, everyone. Yeah, Jen, I find it interesting because, yes, it's not always easy, but I consciously try to do that myself. But I also try, as manager of a lot of staff, I try to do it with staff, and sometimes it's not as easily received, particularly that self-responsibility of not getting involved in the story and things like that. So it is a tricky balance, but and I probably get frustrated then because it's like, why do you care? Like, what does it matter? Like, it's anyway. So that's probably my learning for today as well. So thanks, Jean.
It's even more expansion. You guys are just rocking it. It's like you're building a house and you're stacking more and more awareness on them. Thank you to Monique. I'm going to go back to pathology company. As I said, I got sucked in for 2 weeks. The main thing is stay in your own lane with this. It is a higher vibrational awareness, not better or less than. But if I'm focused over here, and if we're trying to understand, especially in leadership roles like Monique is talking about, and you're all leaders on some level, and you're trying to share and educate in those people over here, and your brain says, but why are you doing that? Why are you giving it so much energy? Sometimes it's like, I don't know why. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay in my own lane. And then you guys be the example of what's possible. And people will come across, they'll go, you got, what are you doing that seems to be bright and shiny and sparkly? And then if they choose to stay in that space and place, that's okay too. You be you. So thank you, Monique. Really powerful. Let's go to Bron and Sunny.
Good morning.
Monique?
There's so many takeaways. I feel that I am very good at kind of I realize like suppressing my own I'm very good at I've become very good at removing myself from the problems that like there's a couple of things yesterday that I was like, wow, that's really bothering me, and concerned if it's a pattern of something that's really big that's happened in my life that I was like, oh gosh, why is this presenting again in this other way? Like, why is this bothering me? So in that sense, I'm so appreciative to be I'm walking outside right now, like grounded to remember to pivot what's mine and what's not, and what's in my control and what's not. And yeah, just like I like that flick it to shift it, but to not just ignore it, you know, what's going on inside me, my feelings, you know, I feel like by suppressing and ignoring, I'm magnifying.
Mm-hmm.
So to shift it, to upshift it, or I'll spiral it up, as you're saying. Thank you. Yeah, it's my big takeaway.
Beautiful, beautiful, Bron. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Sunny.
Good morning. That was really, really good because I never thought of sort of feeding the energy, because I always like to solve problems and things like that. And it's like, and I can see how the energy is working its own way. Like, I don't know who said spiraling into that realm of feeding itself, because it's like the energy's got its own feeding system. And I thought, as you said it, I thought, oh my God, how easy is it to actually feed that energy and how it works its own way. So I thought, oh my God, that was so good. Thank you, Jean, for reminding me how I can do and let that energy go somewhere else.
Beautiful.
Because it's not mine. So that was
Beautiful.
really, really great. I'm going to put that up somewhere.
Awesome,
Do not
awesome.
feed the editing.
Beautiful. And for those that are in my Facebook group, you know that you actually get the image pop up in the Facebook group so that you can have it as a screensaver, print it out. Mine's printed out, so I remember what to teach you guys. Print it out just as a reminder each week. And those that are on YouTube, you have to join the Facebook group to get the image. So thank you. See, you guys have got amazing, amazing, amazing insights and wisdom, and I thank you so, so much. It's really so simple. Simple. And it is within you all. And for all those that are watching the recording, you've already got it within you. It's just sometimes on this 3D world, we get caught up in the drama. Problems need energy to live, positive or negative, whichever way you want to see it. So are you feeding the problem? And especially when you're in like-minded, not like-minded, whatever it be, do you want to have that problem? Is it yours to own? Sometimes not. So thank you so, so much, amazing souls. I will see you next week for the masterclass. Have the bestest week, and I send you so, so much love. Have fun. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.